really believe that in a meditation setting, that questions are important because people, as they're listening to the lecture, questions rise, and that's a natural course. I oftentimes equate it as if it's I'm presenting to you the Dharma, but some of this is going like an explosion that's going deep down, and it takes some time for it to kind of like to explode. And then in that moment, then you start seeing it, because it takes time for the mind to digest what's being said. And as you begin to look at it and combine it with the things that I say, then it produces awakening. It produces some understanding there that wasn't there before. And that's what's important, is to get that kind of an awakening and get your questions answered. This is something that will have a lasting effect on you. Are there any questions that are coming up? No, your questions were answered. Okay. I wanted to read a few things to you to give you an idea of what you're practicing. One master, his name is Han Shan Master, and he was talking about that, why people aren't able to do this, and he said they do not exert their effort directly and do not know the shortcut. And in the practice, you could use all sorts of meditation methods, but in the practice of Chan, we have the idea of a shortcut, or what's called sudden illumination. This was something that was fully developed from the Platform Sutra of Huineng, the sixth patriarch, or lineage master of the Chinese Buddhism. And the sudden illumination, or the shortcut, is to understand that originally everything is mind, and that everything is created by the mind. You need to kind of really work on that in mind. You need to kind of contemplate that. And there's a difference between contemplation and cogitation. So if I ask you to think of the extinction of existence and non-existence, you could think about it, but you couldn't get very far with it. But if I ask you to contemplate it, it just simply means to bring it up in mind and let it stay there, and try to feel with mind itself, not cogitate, not to try to think of an answer, but to let it slowly reveal. That takes time. That takes being able to attune yourself to contemplation. When you're sitting on the cushion and you're looking at the method, you're contemplating the method, not thinking about it. There's what we call direct contemplation, and you're looking just at the method that's projected on mind. How do we do that? It's very simple. I often present as an introduction to mind to picture the idea of a red apple in your mind. So if I ask you to look for a red apple in your mind, you're all able to see a red apple in mind. What you are unable to see is where that apple is projected upon. There has to be something that it's projected on. So for instance, if I was going to show you a movie and you all came very anxiously to see the movie, and I turned the movie projector up to the sky, you wouldn't be able to see anything because there's no screen there. So you'd go, what kind of a movie is this? It is the mind that is what it's being projected on. And as we begin to do this, this is what I call mind work. Once you know how mind works, you can use it in the proper way. If you sit on the cushion and you try to quiet the mind and you don't know how mind works, you will not get very far. You'll just end up with sore legs and the ability to just sit there with sore legs. Master Shen Yang said that you come to the cushion to practice your legs. That doesn't do you very much good. But if you come to the cushion with the idea of this, when we talk about quieting the mind, is quieting it from the understanding of understanding it, then you're doing the proper work. And you don't have to worry about your legs because quickly the discomfort of your legs will disappear on its own. You have to have faith that it will do that. He used to always say that the method will protect you. And it's kind of an interesting thing. You go, what do you mean the method's going to protect me? You know, watching the breath's going to protect me, or counting the breath, or using a Huatou or silent elimination. Yeah, it will protect you. When you let go of the idea of the self, the body is free and eased. And what we perceive to be this horrible leg pain or whatever is just a conjuring. It's something that the self is trying to do and scream so that it is not extinguished. It's afraid of leaving. It has based its repetition of lifetime after lifetime after lifetime as the habitual patterns of the mind simply to extend its own illusory existence. And because of the obscurations, mind could not see that originally there isn't not self. And in this not self, it is just mind. When that is realized, then one can sit without body discomfort or scattered mind or drowsiness. Not bad. And that comes from knowing how mind works. So I invite you all to explore this more, to understand how this kind of meditation works, because it does work. And given a lengthy retreat or an intensive retreat, it can bring about some substantial realizations. Even for beginners, I just finished a retreat and some of the people were beginners and they actually had some significant realizations in terms of this and understanding how mind works. Initially, there was a shock because people don't want to believe that they don't exist. They don't understand that. And again, you shouldn't have a fear of it because the Buddha didn't say no self. He said not self. Not self means that the self is not your true nature. It appears in the true nature. But he's not negating the idea of that. But the self nature of mind is far, far beyond this clinging to this illusory self. When you do that right, it works very well. Not only that, but in your daily life, you take it off the cushion and you find you can use it. You don't have to always have selfish thoughts, be the first in line. How many people are always wanting to be the first in line? And how many people, want to get this or get that and sad because they didn't get it? And then heaven forbid, Chinese mothers, I'm picking on Chinese. I shouldn't, no, I won't pick on Chinese mothers, Mother's Day. But you know who you are. You always want your kid to be number one. And how can he, your child be number one when everybody wants their child to be number one? But it's okay. They can be number two or number three. It doesn't matter. When I was very young, I went to UCLA Law School. And everybody in that school was a straight A student. Coming in, that's all they got was A's. That's how they got into the school. But on the first test, there were so many kids that were crying and sobbing because how are they going to explain to their parents they got a C? But when you have all straight A students, somebody's got to get a C, somebody's got to get a B. And I was just looking at them going, what a bunch of spoiled kids. God, I can't believe these are going to be the leaders of this country. And they're so afraid of facing their parents and say, all I got was a B. Because they thought automatically that's just the way it's going to be. But it isn't in that way, and we can live with it. We can live with it. We don't have to put the pressure like that. And when you put pressure on people to get these high grades like that, at what cost? When I went to UCLA, I would go into the library to look up the cases that were assigned. And people actually used a razor to cut the pages out of the books. And these are going to be the leaders of the country. No wonder we're so messed up. Seriously, I just remembered that right now. I don't know how many years ago that was. But can you imagine that? You want to get a good grade at what cost? Well, I got a great idea. I'll get to the stacks first and go down and read this thing and take it with me. That way nobody else will be able to read it. What was the meaning of that case? I don't know. It was gone. So it's so sad what we do in this lifetime. It's truly insanity, truly ignorance. Chan is a way of bringing back sanity, bringing back compassion. So I truly hope that you will begin to investigate in this way. You will find that it's very enriching. Okay. Any last questions? Nobody? Oh, okay. So we're going to be finishing up now. We're going to do a group photo. If you can stay for the group photo, and then I don't know how they're going to tell you about where the cushions go. Because normally we help put the cushions away, because if all of you help put it away, then it's pretty easy. If you leave it for one or two people, then they can take quite a long time to do that. So let's do that. And I thank you all for coming and being patient and open-minded with this.